Jessica and I had been in love for 8 years. After she canceled our wedding for the 99th time, I finally decided to let go. I joined a 10-year ocean exploration program and cut off all contact. When she found out, she completely broke down and begged everyone she could think of to help her reach me. "Please, help me contact my fiancé." But everyone shut their doors to her. They all knew I wouldn't be coming back. "Jonathan, are you sure you want to join this ocean program? We won't be able to contact the outside world for at least 10 years, and the living conditions are harsh," someone asked. I nodded firmly. I'd always been alone. Serving my country had been a lifelong dream, and I wasn't going to give it up. As soon as I spoke, the thought of Jessica crossed my mind. I shook my head, pushing the memory away. She didn't matter anymore. The professor's eyes sparkled with admiration. He patted my shoulder and sighed. I was worried we'd find no young people willing to take this on. At an age when most of my peers were still juggling homework or traveling and enjoying life, I had dropped out of college without hesitation to dedicate myself to national research. I shook his hand and smiled to lighten the mood. "I'm here now." The professor smiled warmly and wiped the corners of his eyes. "Good. Come sign. Welcome aboard." Without hesitation, I signed my name. He handed me $500,000 as a resettlement fund and told me I had 1 week to say my goodbyes. That would be enough. As I stepped outside, Jessica didn't say a word. She quickly hung up the phone. A familiar yet distant voice had just spoken, leaving me momentarily dazed. I had gotten engaged to her when she was struggling, promising to marry her legally once we came of age. In just 2 years, our family's fortunes had reversed. Mine went bankrupt while hers recovered. Her family began to look down on me, the fiancé who could no longer benefit them. They didn't break off the engagement out of compassion, but I had still believed Jessica would stand by me. I was wrong. Over the years, the pressure wore me down, draining all the love I had. Now, she and I were little more than strangers. I picked up the phone and headed outside. Jessica was already in the driver's seat, her slender hands drumming impatiently on the steering wheel. She glanced at me briefly, then said in a flat voice, "Get in." As I sat down in the passenger seat, she frowned in disgust. "Next time, wash off the food smell before getting in the car." I sniffed myself, confused and a bit embarrassed. I hadn't even gone to my part-time job that day. Where did the smell come from? "Today's Grandma's birthday," she continued. "Take a shower when we get there. Don't embarrass yourself." I murmured a response, choosing not to argue. The rearview mirror reflected her long waterfall-like hair and pale skin, though she always wore dark clothes. She was still stunning. My heart skipped, and I quickly lowered my gaze. She noticed and her expression turned even colder. Right, she hated me now. Why would she tolerate me looking at her like that? I turned my head toward the window, trying to collect myself. The car remained silent. In the past, I'd chat with her about school, but those days were gone. Maybe that was better, less annoyance for her, less worry for me. Unexpectedly, she broke the silence. "How have you been lately?" I turned toward her, surprised she even asked. But her face remained emotionless, eyes fixed on the road. It was just a casual question. I looked away again. "Not bad," I replied quietly. "You're about to finish your internship," she said. "Come work at my company. I need a male secretary." "You'll do." Her tone was commanding, like she assumed I'd say yes. But I knew she didn't really need help. She meant bodyguard, not secretary. In her eyes, I was still the guy who barely got into college, someone she could easily control. She didn't know I had won national awards every year or that I had been selected for one-on-one mentoring by top professors. I refused flatly. "I'm not going." It was the first time I'd ever directly rejected her. She stared at me in disbelief, frowned slightly, then looked away and sneered, "Fine. Do whatever you want." She was mocking me, certain I'd crawl back eventually. But I didn't care anymore. The last time we spoke was 3 days ago. It was supposed to be our 99th wedding after we had already registered legally. This time, she actually showed up, but didn't change into the wedding dress. As soon as she arrived, she called it off in front of everyone, without giving any explanation. I had tried to grab her hand to stop her, but she pushed me away coldly. The people around us looked amused. As poor as him? How could he possibly marry President Jessica? 99 weddings and still a failure? Serves him right. I looked down at the cheap white suit I was wearing, my face burning with shame. My parents hadn't left me much, but I had spent nearly all of it trying to give her a perfect wedding. I had her dress custom made when I was 18. I even had a diamond ring specially designed for her. She didn't even glance at it. I looked up, hoping she'd say something to defend me, but she didn't. Her silence confirmed to everyone how little I meant to her. The laughter grew louder. I ended the wedding in humiliation and left shortly after. Looking back now, I should have known from the first time she cancelled that she never truly wanted to marry me. Dragging it out for so long only led to this painful ending. After a long drive through winding roads, we finally arrived at a villa. A servant spotted Jessica, rushed to open her car door, and completely ignored me. Without Jessica saying anything, I got out of the car and consciously went back to my original room to change clothes. Jessica glanced at me but said nothing and followed the servant into the house. As soon as I entered, I was choked by the dust in the room and sneezed. It was obvious that the room had not been cleaned for a long time. In fact, when I first came to the Jessica family, they were quite polite to me. It was only under the instruction of Jessica's mother that they no longer took me seriously. There was a sound of footsteps behind me, and then they stopped at my door. "Brother Jonathan, you're back." It was Victor, Jessica's childhood sweetheart. He and Jessica had a close relationship at the beginning. After Jessica's family fell into poverty, he pretended to be coerced by his family and refused to accept Jessica. It was not until Jessica saved her family by herself that he eagerly came back to her again. The Jessica family liked him and were willing to believe what he said. So now, this house also has a room belonging to him. It is on the south side with the brightest light, next to Jessica's room. And I can only live in a small corner on the second floor, without even a window, not even as good as the servant's room. That's right. Over the years, the Jessica family has always felt that I am a burden. Anyway, I just regard this as a temporary stop. When the time comes, I will naturally leave. Victor looked me up and down and then dragged me to his room without any explanation. "The clothes in your room can no longer be worn. Come to my room and try mine." I am taller than him and immediately shook off his hand. "No need to bother." Victor was pushed and staggered a step, hitting his head against the wall with a bang. The sound was so loud that it immediately attracted the attention of Jessica's mother nearby. I looked at my hand, which had only used a little strength, in disbelief. Jessica's mother ran over with eyes full of heartache. "Victor, are you okay? Someone come quickly." Then she stood up, walked in front of me, and slapped me hard. "After half a year, you still haven't changed your bad habits." I covered my face and was too lazy to argue. I recognized Victor's poor acting skills at a glance, but the Jessica family believed it as if they were under a spell. When I used to come home in the past, he loved to falsely accuse me. He was competitive and insisted on racing with me, but accidentally fell off the horse because I was the only one by his side. He was so angry that he slandered me, saying I pulled him down. I couldn't help but defend myself, but I was immediately accused of lying. Finally, I was pinned to the ground and beaten 20 times by the Jessica family's bodyguards. I nearly died. But my pony was better than his, so he took the opportunity to leave. No matter how I tried to keep him, it was useless. Later, he accidentally broke Jessica's mother's limited edition bracelet and hid the fragments in my room right away. When Jessica's mother looked for it, he pretended to discover it for me. When she saw the fragments in my room, she immediately determined that I had stolen and broken it. From then on, I was labeled a thief, and everyone avoided me. Gradually, I was excluded by everyone. Fortunately, I will be able to leave here soon. Victor rubbed the back of his head and forced a smile. He shook his head and said he was fine. He just wanted to help me change into suitable clothes. Jessica's mother looked even more distressed. He's not worthy of wearing your good clothes. Don't care about that ungrateful person anymore. Then, as she supported Victor, she kicked me again. Don't come out and get in the way if you have nothing to do later. Then she walked away. I covered my calf and frowned in pain. Jessica appeared in front of me for some reason, with an unhappy look on her face. You're standing here alone pretending to be pitiful and waiting for me? I lowered my head and rolled my eyes, then staggered toward the room. Now I just want to rest. Jessica didn't wait for my response but stuffed a bag of clothes into my arms. Don't think of refusing. If you don't change, I'll ask someone to help you. I took it decisively. I don't want to experience the Jessica family bodyguards again. After changing clothes, I followed Jessica downstairs. After arriving at the banquet hall, Jessica strode away as if she were afraid of having anything to do with me. I walked over to where the servants were standing with ease. I was used to this kind of scene. Even for ordinary meals, I wasn't worthy of sitting at the main table. I could only sit at the small table in the kitchen, just like every other servant. Grandma Jessica stood at the front and started to toast everyone. When it was my turn, I just smiled and said, "Happy birthday." I was really too poor. My life was tight. All I could give was a sincere blessing. Grandma Jessica didn't mind and thanked me with a smile. But Jessica's mother frowned, not sensible at all. Then she began to call Victor forward with his gift. It was an emerald jade carving with Grandma Jessica's favorite Buddha statue engraved on it. Even I could tell at a glance that the jade carving was priceless. Grandma Jessica's eyes lit up, and she took Victor's hand, praising him repeatedly. Good boy, you understand me the best. After seeing this jade carving, Jessica's mother smiled and then glanced at me. I really don't know why our family gives so much money to certain people every month. I sneered in response. I only know that I earned all the tuition and living expenses for the 3 years I've been at the Jessica family by myself. It has nothing to do with the Jessica family. You. Jessica's mother was furious, but because there were so many people, she couldn't explode, so she could only pat her chest to calm down. Jessica frowned and stared at me. Apologize to my mother. Victor followed suit, saying, Brother Jonathan, don't be angry with your aunt. I lowered my eyes and pretended not to hear. Jessica wanted to pull me over, but was interrupted by Grandma Jessica. Okay, she said, then changed the subject. I heard that Victor is going to be admitted to Professor Hubert's project. Have you made an appointment to meet him recently? Jessica shook her head. He didn't want to see me. He said he already had a candidate in mind. Jessica's mother looked a bit anxious. Did he not like the things I brought? Next time, I should prepare something else. I can't let Victor miss out because of me. I was a little surprised. So this seemingly unpopular ocean-going project was actually in high demand. And Jessica had come to pick me up just to help Victor. I didn't want to stay there any longer. I tried to sneak out when no one was paying attention, but Jessica caught me. Where are you going? She asked, raising her eyes to look at me. Everyone turned to stare. Jessica's mother snorted. He probably feels inferior hearing that Victor's joining the project. Who knows what someone like him at the bottom of the class can do? Just don't rely on our family when the time comes. I took a deep breath and smiled. Don't worry about me. After graduation, I'll have my own plans. It has nothing to do with you. Jessica's mother clearly didn't believe me. After the banquet, she called me into the study. As I entered, I saw Jessica's father already inside. Jessica's mother sat in the middle and placed a contract in front of me. I picked it up. It was an agreement asking me to voluntarily give up the engagement with their family. She crossed her arms and looked at me with contempt. Since you already have somewhere to go, then don't bother with Jessica anymore. You've been eating and living under our roof for years. I'm too tired to argue with you now. Just sign it. I stared at the contract, sadness welling up. Back when their family was struggling, it was my parents who took them in and helped them. But now that my parents are gone, they treat me like I'm beneath them. Jessica's mother was impatient. Hurry up. I signed the paper without hesitation and tossed it back to her. She was clearly angry but held it in, picked up the contract, and left in a huff. I returned to my room to pack. There wasn't much that truly belonged to me. Most things clothes, a blessing plaque had been gifts from Jessica. When we first fell in love, she felt bad that my parents scolded me for not studying well, so she went to a temple to pray for me. How ironic. I once believed in everlasting love, but even the deepest feelings can fade. That plaque should be returned to its original owner. The rest just daily essentials I bought myself fit into one backpack. I left the plaque at Jessica's door and walked out the front gate. Jessica came running after me. What are you doing sneaking out at night? Why don't you just stay home? I stepped back to keep some distance. Don't you know? I just signed the agreement with your mother. Our engagement is cancelled. I have no reason to stay here anymore. Jessica froze, then looked shocked. What are you talking about? I never agreed to cancel the engagement. I gave a cold laugh. Everyone knows you like Victor. Good for you. At least we can part peacefully. Her face turned pale. She grabbed my hand. No. Go talk to my mom again. Suddenly, a voice came from behind me. Jessica. It was Victor. He had been standing just behind the door. Jessica froze, letting go of my hand immediately, as if afraid he'd misunderstood. I sneered and walked away. Jessica just stood there, staring at her hand. She didn't chase after me like she used to. This kind of thing had happened before. I was used to it. There were still 6 days before departure. I hadn't truly rested in years, so I headed straight to the train station. But when I tried to decide where to go, I came up blank. My mind was filled with Jessica. She was always cold and distant, yet she hated the cold, especially skiing. I once took her skiing back when I was still well off. I thought she'd like the surprise, but she left in a bad mood. I spent a month trying to coax her. All those years, I never thought about what I wanted. Sitting on a bench near the station, I finally asked myself what I wanted. And I made a decision: skiing. The next day, I showed up at a ski resort fully equipped. I hired the most experienced and most expensive coach available. He hesitated. Someone already booked me. I raised the price to $2,000 per hour. The coach was stunned, then spoke to the resort manager and agreed. It had been a long time since I lived this extravagantly, but I didn't care. I might not get another chance like this in the next 10 years. Let me be reckless this once just to feel alive. After paying, I thought I saw 3 familiar figures in the distance. But they vanished quickly. I sighed in relief. Must have been my imagination. The coach was excellent. In just 1 hour, I learned the basics and could ski on my own. Sliding down the white slope, wind in my ears, I hadn't felt this happy in so long. At the end, I shouted into the sky, releasing years of grief and resentment. It felt amazing. I hoped life would finally get better from here. But when I returned to the starting point, I saw 2 people I didn't want to see: Victor standing silently, and Jessica's mother arguing with the venue manager. When the manager saw me, his eyes lit up. Yes, this gentleman paid triple for the coach. We had no choice. Victor's eyes widened. It was you, brother Jonathan. Didn't we agree to cancel the engagement? Why did you chase us here and deliberately snatch the coach we booked? After seeing me, Jessica's mother frowned and said, you're so shameless. I don't know where the money came from. I folded my arms and looked at them with a calm tone. It's none of your business where it came from. I took the coach because of its high price, and you can take it away with money, too. Jessica's mother was so angry that she pointed at my nose and cursed. In the end, it still depends on the money from our Jessica family. I tell you, even if you regret it, it's useless. My son-in-law can only be Victor. I shrugged, feeling indifferent. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Jessica walking slowly from a distance. She was stunned for a moment after seeing me. Jonathan, I was also a little surprised. It turned out that it wasn't true that she said she hated Shwe. I'm afraid she just hates me. She spoke, as if wanting to explain. I came here because Victor interrupted her as soon as he saw her and walked over, pretending to be a little aggrieved. Jessica, brother Jonathan used money to snatch our scheduled coach. There are so many coaches, but he just snatched ours. It's too much. As he spoke, Victor's tears were about to fall. The embarrassment on Jessica's face faded, and she stared at me. You are not qualified to investigate us. I retorted. Victor grabbed Jessica's mother, who was about to explode, as if he suddenly realized something. I heard there are many rich women here. Maybe brother Jonathan is just being. I can't bear the hard life and came to find someone. Yeah, that's right. After all, who can be as kind-hearted as an aunt who doesn't ask for anything and is willing to take in strangers? In just a few words, I was made into a shameless person who only cares about rich women. Undisguised rumors and humiliation. I smiled calmly. Yes, I settled the money with the coach and decisively left the ski resort to go back to the hotel. I didn't want to stay with them. At night, there was a knock at the door of the hotel. I thought it was the meal I ordered that had arrived, but I saw Jessica at the door. She looked inside nervously. After confirming that I was alone, she breathed a sigh of relief and then asked, "Do you want to go shopping?" I wanted to refuse, but what I blurted out was, "Okay." I was a little annoyed. It's like this. Since I still have muscle memory of Jessica, she took me to the roof of the hotel. I remember that only people who spend 100,000 can go up to the roof. It seems that this is not the first time Jessica has come to ski. The roof is very large, and there are not many people at this time. I followed her silently. After walking for a while, I couldn't help but speak. If you have something to say, just say it. Jessica paused. She took something from her arms. It was the blessing card I put at the door of her room. What do you mean by this? I asked. The property is returned to its original owner. She wanted to reach out to me with trembling hands. I folded my arms and stepped back. Not for now. She seemed to have grasped some grammatical perspective. What does temporarily mean? I have also recently planned a wedding. That contract is invalid. I will definitely not break the appointment this time. I was wrong before. I thought about it for a while and agreed directly. Okay. She was a little surprised and then heaved a long sigh. Don't bother with Victor. He is still very gentle and kind. I sneered in my heart. In the end, I still wanted to restore the reputation of my true lover. But what does it matter? I only agreed verbally. After all, after I go home tomorrow, I will cut off all contact. Got it. My tone was calm. She was more surprised. It's good that you think so. She wanted to say something else. Just then, a phone call came in. I glanced and saw that it was Victor's call. Her tone instantly softened a lot. While saying she would come right away, she apologized to me and said that we would make an appointment next time. I raised my hand and said goodbye to her. There will be no next time. Jessica, we will never see each other again. The big stone in Jessica's heart fell instantly. She breathed a sigh of relief. She played with Victor and Jessica's mother for several days before going home. As soon as she got back home, she started preparing for her busy work, and at the same time preparing for the wedding, until the wedding planner asked her what the groom liked. Jessica held the phone for a long time, unable to say a word. What do I like? She hurriedly hung up the phone and sent me a message. Have you changed your preferences recently? Then she turned off the phone screen until night fell. She rubbed her neck and found that many messages popped up on WeChat, including those from Victor, Jessica's mother, and subordinates, but not from me. This was the first time I didn't reply to her message. She couldn't help but feel a little flustered and then called me directly. "Hello, the number you dialed is temporarily unavailable." Jessica was a little annoyed, but she endured it and called me again and again, always with a proper female voice. She took a deep breath and held the phone tightly. After she recovered, she contacted the secretary to find a man named Jonathan, the sooner the better. The secretary rarely saw the boss's panicked and overwhelmed expression. She nodded quickly and left to look for him. The call was connected, and she answered it with surprise, but it was Victor's voice. "I specially stewed chicken soup today. Come back quickly to drink it." The disappointment in her heart was magnified. She was a little impatient. "Okay, don't call me if you don't have anything to do in the future." Victor on the other end was stunned. "What?" Jessica hung up directly. The news from Jessica's mother also came. Jessica took a deep breath, put on her coat, and rushed home. After entering the door, she went straight to the point. "Can you contact Jonathan?" Victor and Jessica's mother looked at each other in confusion. How could it be possible? "Why are you looking for him?" Jessica glanced at her mobile phone and said, "Today is the 5th anniversary of my engagement with him. It is also the 5th anniversary of our Jessica family being taken in by their family after they fell into poverty. Everyone has avoided our family. Only their family is willing to save us." Jessica's mother's face flushed a little, and she said a little embarrassedly, "Why mention this?" Jessica stared at her mother. "Mom, how can a person forget his roots?" Jessica's mother couldn't help but speak, "But we have already paid him back, haven't we? We provide him with food and shelter, and pay for his tuition and food. How can we be sorry for him?" Jessica's face changed suddenly. If he really gave it to him, how could he need to work part-time to earn money by himself? Jessica's mother was dumbfounded. How could this be possible? Jessica's eyes suddenly turned red. "I have always known that he was working part-time. Otherwise, how could his grades be so bad? Then who did I transfer his money to?" Jessica's mother trembled with her hands and was at a loss. She took out her mobile phone and looked through the monthly expenses but found that she had stopped paying for 2 years. Jessica recognized at a glance that the bank card that had been given for 3 years was not hers. She stared at Victor with a cold tone. "This card is yours. Do you have anything to say?" Victor felt a little guilty and shook his head in panic. "I don't know, and my phone didn't receive any messages." Jessica's mother also reacted and immediately pulled Victor behind her. "Don't be so harsh on him. Besides, he didn't mean it." Jessica was amused by her mother's behavior. "So, Jonathan doesn't owe our family anything for 3 years. We owe him." She turned around and left without hesitation. Victor became more and more flustered and trotted to catch up. "Jessica, where are you going?" Jessica spoke indifferently, "Go find Jonathan." After that, she immediately got in the car and left quickly, until she reached the gate of my university. Jessica's panic still did not stop. Seeing this, the security guard just asked a routine question and let her in. People were coming and going all over the campus. She grabbed everyone and asked, "Where is Jonathan?" Everyone shook their heads. Only one person said, "You mean Jonathan? He has such good grades, how could he do experiments in which laboratory?" Jessica was a little confused and asked, "Isn't Jonathan the last in the class?" The classmates were a little puzzled. How could that be possible? He was the last in the class only when he enrolled. He made a comeback in 1 semester and became the only student of Professor Hubert. "Oh, yes, I remember, he joined the ocean program." Jessica's head exploded with a bang. "So, the proud student that Hubert mentioned is Jonathan. That's why he can survive by working part-time. After all, he is an excellent student and can get a national scholarship." Jessica's mother called. Jessica didn't see the person coming but just picked up the phone blankly. I heard that Professor Hubert's project is about to end. You should find a way quickly. And I heard that Jonathan also knows his teacher, right? He was so excessive at the ski resort last time. Let him come to help as well. Jessica said lightly, it's over. Jonathan is the only student of Hubert. He participated in the ocean program. Victor has no chance. Jessica's mother was anxious. What nonsense are you talking about? Is Jonathan worthy of being Professor Hubert's student? Did you make a mistake? It just so happened that he asked his secretary to find out my news and send it to me. All the news in my file is encrypted, leaving only the name, age, and school. Jessica's heart was hit hard, and her tears could no longer be stopped. She also sent it to Jessica's mother, look for yourself, I can't find any news about him anymore. Only researchers with state secrets will be like this. Then she hung up the phone. She still couldn't believe that she really couldn't contact me. She looked for all the teachers but was kicked out after explaining well. She could only kneel at the door of the house, please, let me contact my fiancé. Just say a word. She knelt down to one person every day, but no one was willing to contact her. Everyone scolded her. The dignified Jessica could let her fiancé suffer from hunger and cold for so long. If we didn't feel sorry for the child would have died long ago. Why are you contacting him now? Get out of here quickly. Jessica was kicked on the shoulder. She supported herself on the ground and coughed violently, still unwilling to leave. Heavy snow fell from the sky, and fell on Jessica's body one by one. She knew that I really would not go home. 10 years later, the Ocean Plan project achieved great success and I was finally released. It's just that time has changed and society has developed rapidly. I was a little dazed. Fortunately, the country treats us, the researchers who were locked up, very well. The first thing they did after we got out was to send young people to help us popularize the knowledge needed by today's society. Now I am already 33 years old. Holding a new mobile phone, I feel a bit like an old man. My colleague who was preparing to take a taxi with me couldn't help but laugh at himself. He had been locked up for 10 years and had become a primitive man. I responded with a smile. The vehicle came soon, and my colleague and I got in the back seat. Jonathan's voice was trembling. I looked up and found that it was Jessica, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. After 10 years, she had become a driver. I didn't expect that we would meet again, and it was still in such a scene. I pretended not to hear and got in the car. After arriving at the destination, I said thank you and got off immediately. Jessica also got out of the car and chased after me, with a crying tone in her voice. I missed you very much. 10 years have washed away all my feelings. I have no waves towards her now. When I looked back at her, I found that she had changed a lot. It's summer now, but she's wearing long sleeves. Although her hair is cut short, it's still a little messy. It's obvious that she doesn't have time to take care of it. Even with a mask, the dark circles under her eyes are clearly visible. She looks much more haggard. A colleague patted my shoulder and said earnestly, "Don't waste too much time, we have a seminar in the evening." I nodded in response and then said to Jessica, "We're past this." Jessica's eyes were burning and surging. "Didn't we agree at the beginning that we would get married? Let me make it up to you." I waved my hands in disapproval. "I lied to you. You can see that too. Isn't this the same as you? You lied to me, I lied to you, we're even." Jessica was stunned where she stood. She opened her mouth and wanted to say, "I really want to make it up to you. Now we're only in our 30s, everything is still possible. Can you give me a chance?" I simply shook my head, "No, not at all." When I talked to her about canceling the wedding, 99 times, she gave me the same reason every time, that is, she was too busy and had to prepare for a new project. But it was discovered that she was just accompanying Victor to get a suit tailored. And then it was always like this, either Victor or the Jessica family was making trouble. Jessica also told me to be more sensible in a light tone. But anyone with a discerning eye could tell that it was the Jessica family who did it on purpose. Everyone thought that Jessica had acquiesced and I was the only one who was foolishly deceived. I told her that I had customized a one-of-a-kind wedding dress for her. She was confused and dazed. "You were obviously wearing such a cheap dress." I nodded. "Yes, because I loved you at that time, so I was willing to suffer myself and not let you." Suddenly, her eyes turned red and she started to cry loudly. "Why didn't you tell me all this? If I had known earlier, I would have known earlier." But there aren't many things that can be known earlier in this world. I even know that if it weren't for me joining the ocean plan, she wouldn't have regretted it so thoroughly. I didn't feel anything when I saw her crying. I turned around and left with my information. I'm still very busy now, and I've done my best to be willing to give her some of my time. Suddenly, an old woman with a hunched back jumped out from nowhere. She had a fierce look in her eyes and stabbed me with a dagger in her hand. "Jonathan, go to hell." Before I could dodge, I saw Jessica standing in front of me in the next second. She was stabbed hard in the abdomen. The old woman was dumbfounded. "Jessica, what are you doing?" I just realized that this person was actually Jessica's mother. Jessica couldn't hold on and collapsed to the ground. She covered her stomach with one hand and grabbed Jessica's mother's hand with the other. "Mom, don't do stupid things." Jessica's mother burst into tears. "Why are you so stupid? If it weren't for Jonathan, how could you have lived such a miserable life? I'm helping you get revenge." Jessica shook her head. "No, I did all this voluntarily. It has nothing to do with him. I love him and I'm willing to give everything for him." After she finished speaking, she looked at me eagerly, as if she hoped to get my forgiveness. I was a little surprised, but such words couldn't move me anymore. In the past 10 years, my will has been tempered. Jessica's mother cried and muttered, "Silly child," in her mouth. I took out my phone and prepared to call 120. The phone here quickly attracted people nearby. After they recognized me, they protected me and then said, "Mr. Jonathan, just leave it to us to handle it." I put away the phone and nodded. "Okay, it's hard work. I have to attend an important meeting. Sorry to bother you here." When Jessica's mother saw me leave, she shouted at the top of her lungs, "Jonathan, you are not a human being, you are not a human being." I kept walking forward and returned to the seminar. I found that my colleagues were all looking at me. As expected, humans can never escape gossip. I sat next to a familiar colleague and he couldn't help asking what was going on outside. After I finished talking to him, he immediately looked me up and down and was relieved to make sure that I was okay. Fortunately, otherwise I was afraid that the professor would come back and blame me for not taking good care of his beloved disciple. I laughed as a response. My colleague told me the gossip he had found. It turned out that Jessica later married Victor. However, after Jessica's company was found to have big problems, it went bankrupt. Victor wanted to divorce but was held tightly by Jessica's mother. After a year, he began to abuse Jessica every day. Jessica had many wounds on her body. She had done many jobs and it was purely coincidental that she was able to take my place. I couldn't help but sigh. This society is really developing fast. After the meeting, someone told me that Jessica was no longer in danger of life, and Jessica's mother was arrested and imprisoned for intentional injury. I nodded to show that I knew. This matter was just a trivial matter. The professor was old and had some old injuries from the ocean plan. My legs and feet are not very good, so I went to the supermarket to buy a lot of vegetables and came to help him cook. He laughed and scolded me, saying that I was mocking him because he was over 50 and needed to be served. He happily helped me put the dishes on the table and asked me what delicious food I wanted to cook. On my phone, there were tasks waiting for me to deal with. I temporarily chose not to see them. My mind was full of thoughts about what to eat. Oh, I haven't had hot pot for a long time. Let's have this tonight. The end.